Morning, folks. So some of you have commented about the wood and stuff on here. You know, we're moving, and this place here, the guy before us, this is an outbuilding, and the guy before us had it kind of set up as a bar, and it's not it's not a real bar. You don't go here and pay money or anything to have a beer, but it's kind of a pretend bar for him and his friends and things, and I thought it was a pretty dang neat idea, and so I'm keeping it that way. It's a saloon, the Muskrat Hole Saloon. Anyway, I'm going to show you more of it here one of these days, but it's under construction and kind of a cluttered up mess, and I'm not going to do it just yet. Somebody asked about some of these traps, so I'll have to show those too. I got a collection of kind of unusual antique traps, and I'll have to go through some of those and show you. But today, I wanted to talk about Facebook, of all things. I hate Facebook. I really do. I kind of got away from it, unsubscribed to it, all that stuff, but I keep getting drug into it. The only reason we ever even signed up for it was that Cindy had a friend that lived in Australia. She grew up with her in Wisconsin, and this lady married an Australian guy and moved to Australia. And so we started looking at Facebook mostly to keep in contact with her, and it was a lot cheaper than phone calls and things like that. And she has since died, and so there's really no reason for Cindy to look at it, and she very rarely does. There is a site on there called Lemhi Live. Our county is Lemhi County, and Lemhi Live is kind of a local gossip place. Really, that's what it is. It kind of tells you what's going on in the county and mainly around town and whatnot. And I look at it every now and then, and every time I do, all it does is make me mad. I don't like Facebook. I very rarely look at it. So if you send me a message on there and I don't answer back, that's the reason. I don't care for that thing. It is the meeting place of morons. Oh man, there's some stupid people on there. All it does is put me in a bad mood. But the reason I'm even talking about this is one of those reasons. That Charlie Kirk that got shot here the other day. That's a terrible thing. I mean, absolutely terrible thing. And that kind of stuff should not ever happen in this country, but it happens way too often. That guy, I never heard of him before until that happened. Cedar, my daughter, she knew who he was. She'd followed him for a while and kind of liked what he had to say. And I don't even know. I never heard him talk. I don't know anything about him. From what I understand, if she liked him, I probably would have too. From what I understand, he was conservative and he was a political speaker, and I probably would have liked to hear what he said, but I never did. I really can't say one way or another. Never even heard of the guy, like I said, until after he got shot. But on Facebook, one of our local businesses here in town, it's a restaurant and bar, and it's changed hands several times. I think they have new owners from what I heard. I don't know who they are. I don't go in there because their food is really good. They got really very good food. It's one of the nicest places in town, but their prices are high, and I just can't justify it, I mean, you go in there for dinner, and for me and Cindy, by the time you buy a couple of beers or something, and she likes those lemon drop martinis. And once you have a couple of those, a couple of beers, and a dinner, it's $100 bill. And I just can't justify that for one meal. I mean, it wasn't that many years ago. You could buy, a quarter side of beef for that. Not anymore, but you could have not that many years ago. And good prime rib anyway, a big one, not restaurant food. You can still buy for $100. But that's why I don't really go in there. I can count probably on one hand the number of times in the 34 years we've lived here that I have eaten in there. But they got good food. It's a nice place, and I got nothing against them. Anyway, back to Facebook. One of the employees in there, I guess, was laughing and posting on Facebook that, or maybe TikTok or one of them other things, I don't look at any of those things, that she thought it was funny that guy got shot. I don't see how anybody can laugh and be happy about somebody being dry gulched. I mean, he was murdered from ambush. That is a cowardly, low-down thing to do. And, I mean, getting shot at all is bad, but when you get dry gulched, that's even worse. In wartime, and even police and stuff, a sniper is a needed tool that saves lives. If you can get rid of an enemy threat without endangering other people and causing other people to die, then that's a needed thing. But this ain't wartime. This is a political speaker that got dry gulched. Anyway, he's calling to boycott that restaurant, which I don't understand that at all. It's not the restaurant's fault. It's an employee. If you get a flat tire on your truck or your car, you don't boycott that make of car. You either fix the tire or you replace it. That's up to them. Well, anyway, all that barking with Cindy and the dogs coming in, but this same fella that called for the boycotts on this restaurant, like I say, boycotting something is proving a point, that is something that is a pretty good tactic if we're letting people know that you don't agree with this stuff, but you kind of need to find out the whole story first. Find out what they're planning on doing about this. Find out where this gal's coming from, I mean, or I don't even know. I think it was a gal that was laughing about that. But you shouldn't go off half-cocked. You need to get your facts straight. You need to find out the whole story before you go, and especially trying to ruin a local business. I mean, it's an employee. It doesn't represent you. If I was the restaurant and bar owner and my employee was making me look bad, then yeah, I would have definite words with them, find out, what is going on, why they are doing this, and let them know that this is not okay. If you have a problem with this Charlie guy or whatever, keep it to yourself. You might be a very good employee, but you're not going to make the business look bad because of your own beliefs. That doesn't ever work out. But anyway, I don't know. Like I say, you shouldn't go off half-cocked, and maybe I am. I don't know the whole story. I only read a little bit of it on Facebook, and then it pissed me off, so I got off of there. But this same fella, the very same fella, years ago, they had a four-wheeler and side-by-side group coming to the fairgrounds that they called Rally in the Pines. And I've got videos on it if you care to look back on them. And overall, it was a good group. They were older people generally, and they weren't big partiers or anything. They weren't loud. They weren't obnoxious. They didn't cause any kind of problems in that sort of way. But they caused problems with them not staying on the trails and tearing up our roads. One thing they did do, which was a very positive thing, is they had a contest to see who could bring home the most garbage per pound. They weighed it per pound, the most garbage from the mountains. And whoever won, whoever brought home the most litter, they got some four-wheeler stuff. I don't know what it was. It was accessories, I guess you would call it. And I have no idea what the prizes were, but I thought, if more people knew that, more people would be on your side to have you here. Because all they're seeing is they're seeing a lot of four-wheelers tearing up our mountains. And they didn't see the positive side of it. Like I say, I got nothing against them. Overall, they were a good group. There was just too doggone many of them. And they got kicked out of here. They got kicked out of Mackay. They got kicked out of several other places. And, whether it's justified or not, maybe it is, maybe it wasn't. But what I'm getting back to, I'm kind of getting derailed here, but the BLM, the Forest Service, was not going to renew their permits because they were going off-road and they are tearing up the mountains. I saw pictures of them up here, UP Lake. I don't know what UP stands for, but it's a little bitty lake. It's almost like in a, I don't think it is, but it almost looks like it's in a volcano crater. I mean, it's kind of at the top of a mountain in a bowl. It is a deep lake from what I hear, and fishing's good in it. And anyway, it's a really pretty little mountain lake, and those mountain lakes are pretty fragile. You can mess them up pretty easily. And I saw pictures of those four-wheelers half submerged in the lake. They were driving right out into the water, which is a stupid thing to do. Why would you do that? You're getting oil and stuff in that lake. And go up there, enjoy it, have fun, take pictures, go fishing, do all those things that normal people do, but don't ruin it for everybody else. Don't ruin it for the wildlife and the fish. And anyway, so they weren't going to renew the permits, and the fairgrounds lost money because there were so many of them. They filled the septic tanks. We had to have the septic tanks filled or pumped, and just, the power bill and all that stuff. And they thought, well, when they come back, we need to up the rates because we're losing money having them here. And so this fella on Facebook, dang near said his name, I ain't gonna do that. He put it out on Facebook to call this number and to complain and to boycott this and to try to change things. Let them know that you are mad and blah 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 blah. Well, the number was my personal home number. On the fairgrounds gate, I have my personal home phone number on there so that people can call me in the middle of the night and whatever, needing horse stalls or some problem or another. for Fairgrounds related stuff. So I'm getting hundreds of phone calls that have nothing whatsoever to do with me. So yeah, I'm still a little bit ouchy about that. There was no reason for that. This guy, he goes out of his way causing trouble, and I don't understand what his deal is. Another one, my neighbor, he lives just right over here. Next house over, actually. Now that we live here. But he has a Doberman. He's one of the only Dobermans in the whole valley. In town, on the outskirts of town, between what they call Kids Creek Pond and the cemetery, basically, there is a side road, and I trap there quite a little bit for muskrats, and it's on the edge of town, and it is unpeopled. It's just kind of a big grassy field. His dog was in his car, and it was whining. It needed to go to the restroom, and so he took that little side road. He parked his car, and he let the dog go. There's a lot of grass that is, it's fairly high. There's some sagebrush clumps and different bushes and things. Bedded down behind one of them was 3 or 4 deer. He didn't see them when he pulled up and he let his dog out. And the dog ran around in a big circle and went to the restroom and all that stuff. Well, these deer got up and they started to run. Well, the dog saw him and he chased after him for about 30, 40 feet. And the neighbor, he called for the dog and got it to stop. No big deal. The dog was curious. He wasn't chasing deer, but he was curious, saw him run, so he chased after him for a few feet and stopped. The guy called his dog back, got it back in the car, and off they went. Next day on Facebook, all over Facebook, there's a Doberman down on the back road there that's chasing deer. Anybody know who owns this dog? And blah, 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 blah. We need to do something about this. We need to call Fish and Game. We need to have this dog controlled. And there wasn't any problem until he became a problem. I don't know. I just don't understand people. Why do they have to go out of their way to cause other folks trouble? It's a busybody, I mean, that's all it really is being a busybody. And this guy, he's got a public platform, and he's got a lot of followers, and he's got people galore that's probably gonna boycott that restaurant. And it wasn't their fault. It's the employee. I mean, you can't even really call to fire that employee. All you can really say is have a talk with them. Find out what the backstory is. Find out what's going on. Try to work this out. I mean, I don't want to see anybody lose their job. And that is to laugh at somebody getting murdered is a pretty low down deal. Very, very despicable deal, actually, but that is their right. As an American, you have your right to voice your opinion. It might not be popular, it might not make you a lot of friends, but it is your right to say what you think. Anyway, I don't like Facebook. I never will. I don't look at it very often. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye.